Welcome to the Quick Editor, a great way to create custom graphics directly within your browser, no After Effects or Photoshop required. It's easy to use, fast, and makes use of all the content available within your subscription, so you can create custom graphics and custom motion graphics to your heart's content. Earlier I created this custom graphic directly and entirely using the Quick Editor, and so we're going to recreate it as a walkthrough of all the functionality. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. The first step is to choose a collection. There are hundreds of different collections to choose from, and I found this one called Flux, which I like quite a lot, so I'm going to click on that. It'll take you inside of the collection page, and there's a Quick Editor button which you can push right here. Also, if you've selected one of the individual products, it'll also give you a link to the Quick Editor from in there using the same button. So once we click this Quick Editor button, it'll pull up this screen that asks you to choose a background. You can choose either a still or a motion. I'm going to choose a motion, and so there's all these different options to choose from. If you choose one of the ones that has a title, like this thanks one right here, that text will be baked into the motion background, and so you won't be able to modify it, but you can add additional text or other elements to it, and so you can still customize it to some extent. But if you just want kind of more of a blank canvas, then be sure to choose one of the blank backgrounds. I'm going to choose Flux 01 right here, click that, and it'll launch the Quick Editor. Inside the Quick Editor, there are 5 different options over here. The first is Trim, where you can trim the length of the motion background if you want to. You can also hit play to get a preview of it. It'll normally just be static as you're adding things to it, but if you want to see what it looks like with your text and other elements, just come to this Trim and hit play. The first option is to add in some text, so I'm going to choose the text button here to bring up the text interface. There's a bunch of different options for what you can do with this, and we'll go through those one by one. I'm going to start by just dragging and drawing a text box right here, and so it puts in my text right there. I'm going to change this to Awaken and click out of it right here. There are some different fonts you can choose from. If you click on your text box and then go down to font, choose from the drop down, you can see the different ones that are available here. But what's really cool about the Quick Editor is you can add in your own fonts, and so what you do is just make sure you click out of that. You'll come over here to Custom Font, click on the Choose File button, and then go to wherever you have your font on your system. You might have to say All Files instead of Custom Files. I have it right there. I'll click Open, and now what I can do is click on this, go down to Font, choose this Special Gothic Expanded 1, and now I have my font right there. The first thing I want to do is change the color of this, so I'm going to go down to Color, and then choose a white color. You can also choose from the color palette down here if you want to quickly look at some different colors, but white's going to be good for me. You can also change the fill color if you want like a kind of box behind it. So if I change this to like red, you can see now I have this filling this entire box. Maybe you want that, maybe you don't. If ever you don't want that fill color, you can just come to the fill color and go over to this very left-hand one, which gives you transparency. And I think that's what I want, so I'll go with that. Next, you can choose the font style, so you can do like normal, you can do bold, you can do italic, and you can do italic, bold, italic. These are like faux styles, so they're not necessarily built into the font itself, so you can play around with that if you want. You can also do the font size. I'm going to choose as big as I can go. I think that'll look good. And then I'll click out of that and expand this. You can almost use this as a mask if you want to, but I'll just do that. And then I also want to center this, so that's the text align. If you have more than one line, this line height will change that, so I'll do Awaken Now, something like that. You can see I can't see anything, so I have to expand this. If I change the line height, that'll determine how much space is in between them. It doesn't really matter for this because I don't want that, so I'll just get rid of that, and then I can bring my text box back to something like that. Now I can reposition this if I want to, so once you're in this kind of mode right here where you see these corners and handles, and you can also rotate it, stuff like that, you can start dragging it around to place it. You might see these kind of little blue guidelines coming up. Those will show you like where the center is, and it'll kind of snap there, so that can be kind of helpful. So I think we'll go with that. I like that. Next, I want to add in some more text, and so I'm going to just click again and drag, and I'll make another text, and I think I'll say Bible study for this one because that's ultimately what I want this to be. I'm obviously going to have to make this a little bit smaller, and so I'll come down to the font size, bring it a lot lower. I'm I'm also going to change the font to maybe Humanist. I think that looks good. And then I'll kind of bring this over here, which I think is ultimately where I want it. And then something like that. I want to change the fill color. I think I like this blue I looked at earlier. Oops, I think I changed I don't want the fill color, I want the font color. You can see though that it's pretty easy to change even if you mess up. So if you do mess up, don't worry, you can always change it back. I kind of like this blue color. I think it works with the blues in the background there, so I think I'll go with that. I think I'll make this kind of bold. There we go. And then lastly, I want to add in kind of like a tagline for when this is going to be. So I think what I'll do, since I want to use the same font, if you click on this little button right here, it's going to duplicate it. So I can duplicate that, and I'll drag it down, make sure it's centered. I'll change the color to white, and then I'll say Saturdays, and I'll put a little bar there, and we'll say 6 a.m. So not only are you being awakened, but you have to awaken for this Bible study, I guess. Okay. Oops, I did it twice. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's looking good. I might make this a little bit smaller, so I'll change the font size. I think that'll work a little bit better. Okay, so now I have all my fonts and text in there. That was actually pretty easy to do. If I was not having to record a tutorial at the same time, it would be much faster to go through this. And so that's how you put in text. You can also add in text shadows if you want to. So if you just start dragging on this X, you can go from left to right, depending on the percentage. You can also do the same for Y, up and down. So it just lets you create a nice shadow if you want to. You can also blur it if you want. And so I think I don't want any of that right now, but it is a pretty easy way to add in a nice little drop shadow if you think you need it. All right, and the last thing is to add in a text outline, which we'll show with this one. Basically adds an outline to your text. And you can see my outline right now is white, and so it's just adding this really fat outline. If I change the color of it, you can see what it's doing. Sometimes you'll want that, sometimes you won't. For this particular graphic, I don't want that, so I'm just gonna put it down to 0, and I don't have to worry about anything else. All right, so that's all the text, and we're good to go with that. Now we need to add in some other interesting elements, and so the next is going to be decorate. And so with decorate, I click on the button, and there's a few different things you can do. There's a Sharpie that you can use to draw just kind of freehand. I don't want to do that for this. You can change the color if you want to, like something more in line with what you got. If you mess up or don't want it, just do Command or Control Z to undo. There's also, if I do draw something like this, there's an eraser that I can erase the whole thing if I don't want to have to just like undo it. There's also a path where you can kind of just draw a straight path like this, which is kind of handy. I don't want that either. You can also just draw a line. You can also draw an arrow. There's also rectangles you can do. You can change the line color, the fill color, and the same for an ellipse. I do want to use the rectangle, and I want the fill color to be more of that blue color, so I'm just going to choose that blue color right there. And then let's just draw our rectangle right here, something like that. I want to make sure, I don't really want a line color, so I'm just going to turn it off completely, and that I think is exactly what I want. So pretty easy. I could add a bunch more if I wanted to, but I want to keep this pretty simple. The last thing we're going to go over to is elements, and so this allows you to add in some pre-built-in PNGs that are included just right down here. You can kind of drag and see what's in there. Some of it will work for what you want, some of it won't, so you can just kind of browse through there. You can also add in emojis from this kind of built-in library, like if you wanted to say awaken, like that. That's actually kind of funny, but I don't want that for this particularly. You can also add in your own elements, and so what you can do is go to upload element. It'll open up your dialog box and go to wherever you have it on your system. I have this Bible right here already in the folder that I want, so I'm going to click open. It'll add it right in there. I'm going to put it over here, scale it down just a little bit, and I think I'll rotate it just a little bit so it's a little askew, just to give it a little bit of visual interest. And that's, I think, looking pretty good. If you have a bunch of elements that you've uploaded, you can come over to My Elements and it'll show you what's there, so you don't have to like duplicate and stuff like that if you don't want to. And so that's basically this graphic that's created. If we go up to trim, we can play this back and see what it looks like. So it's just a nice kind of motion background behind it. We got our text, we got our elements here, and so it was pretty quick and easy to make. And if I need to modify any of this, the colors, the text, any of that, I can do that very, very easily. The last option is to resize, and so right now this is in full HD 1920 by 1080. You can also put it into like a square. It might rearrange some of your things, so you might have to go back into the different sections to change those if you want to. You can also do triple wide, you can do 4K. I think I'm just going to do full HD. And so now that we have our graphic all created and ready to go, all we have to do is go up to save. And so what it's going to do is start just processing it. If it's a still with no motion background, it'll probably be almost instantaneous. Depending on how long the background is. For a motion background, it might take a little bit longer, but I'm just going to sit here and keep talking while this is processing so you can see that it doesn't actually take that long to get your custom motion graphics. And just like that, it's all done. It's downloaded it and it's ready to go. I can go and start working on another custom graphic if I want to, and it just makes it super easy and super simple to create custom graphics directly within my browser. I didn't have to open up Photoshop, I didn't have to open up After Effects. I can do it all right here using all the media already included in the subscription. So that is the Quick Editor. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Get in there, have some fun, create some custom graphics, and enjoy.